Hey guys, welcome to another DIY decoration video, or homemade decoration video I should say, or display video. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about some cool homemade ideas for your spring or Easter or St. Patrick's Day display, or if you're like me, you may recall last year I did one big spring display. It was pretty much as big as Christmas was. It looked excellent. I would highly recommend if you're into spring weather, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, pastel colors, spring colors, multicolor. Just go ahead. Don't care what anyone thinks. Just do one big spring display. Shamrocks, rabbits, Easter eggs. It looks awesome. It's like a spring Christmas display, I like to say. Anyway, that's my first thing. Anyway, getting back to some homemade ideas. Today I'm going to be talking about two things that were both featured last year in my spring display that if you watch the video, you're going to recall probably instantly because they were in major sections of the display and they were kind of up front, like they were the first things you would see. So first are these Easter egg lights, which, as far as I know, light companies never officially made any of these. But it's really easy. You go to the Dollar Tree, Walmart, Target, anywhere, and just get a bunch of these Easter eggs. Maybe if you're not doing something for the display this year, but you want to next year, if these eggs go on sale, they're like 50 cents to $1 a pack, so I don't really think they're necessary to go on sale. It all depends where you go. Get like 10, 11 sets, because chances are they're going to break when you're drilling holes, and you're going to need extras. Anyway, I think there's at least 6 sets here that I made. Some are longer, some are shorter. For a demonstration of them, I have my short set up. You can see. They came out really good, and this short strand, I actually fit into the background of my centerpiece display. It was behind the light pole with the pastel lights and the big Easter egg on top. This was in the background, and it had multicolor lights on the stakes, so it was all lit up. The blue is a little hard to see, but yes, they are lit up. So that's just a quick little demonstration of it. And here are the bigger sets. Now, these are pastel lights in here. And what I mean by that is these eggs are a lighter color. I took the pastel lights, which, as far as I know, you can only get around Easter. Some places have them, some don't. If you see them, you know at some point you're going to want them, grab them. I'm not saying you have to take the whole shelf of them, because they'll probably be back at some point. But get at least 3 or 4, because you never know. They're not that long. I forget, these might be 10 feet, if that. I'm not even sure what the total lighted length is. But anyway, I looked at the colors of the pastel lights and I matched them to the colored eggs, which some would argue that they won't show as nice, but they look different from like the average plain lighted eggs. And for these, I did every one because there's only a couple lights on it, versus the longer strand where I skipped. Sometimes I would skip one, sometimes I skipped 2 lights. So it added more light to where I had them. It actually looked really nice, and I was thinking maybe one year, I doubt this year, but I'm thinking of getting a bunch of plastic carrots and doing them in between maybe to fill in the gaps, but I don't know about that. And if so, that won't be till 2020's spring display, probably. Anyway, so that's just the first suggestion. Like I say, have at least 2 to 3 sets of backup eggs, because chances are they're going to break at some point. And you will get frustrated while making these, I can guarantee you that. It took me, I think, 5 nights to finish all of these. I worked about 2 hours each night at them, which some people would argue and say, why don't you just work till you're finished? But, you know, you have other stuff to do. This isn't the only thing I have to do, and it's not the only thing I have to do to get ready for the spring display. I have all the blow molds to test out, the normal light strands, whatever else I'm making that's homemade, which Now that I'm glad I brought that up, because there is another homemade decoration that you could use for St. Patrick's Day, your Easter display, or your big spring display. Like, for any three, this would really fit in, but especially at St. Patrick's Day, and you'll recall it right away. I have two of them. One of them I just had to fix. There are these homemade shamrocks, which I've never seen anyone do before, so I definitely think I'm one of the first to do something like this. I mean, people might have done this with a smaller decoration. You know, you can sometimes buy these rope-lighted, like these rabbits. You can sometimes get these little window decorations and rope lights. And I think they did sell shamrocks at one point like those rabbits, the small window lights. I think they sold them in rope lights and the normal mini lights. But I think it's kind of cool to home make something like this. And this, I actually had to fix about 2 weeks ago. Originally, it was just the normal mini lights on it. A bunch of bulbs broke. That was my fault. I kept stepping on them. I should have had this in a more safe spot. And it was hard to fix them, so I just stripped the lights off. And it actually looks cool with rope lights. It kind of has a, kind of like a 70s look to it, I kind of feel like. You know how you used to see, like, graffiti drawn on walls? Like, this is sort of what it reminds me of a little bit. But it looks really well done. You have to have a lot of patience to work with rope lights, especially for something like this, like getting them in the corners there really good and getting the shape to match. Really, you should do it with already used rope lights. Don't use brand new ones if possible. Now, if your rope lights don't work, then you're going to want new ones. But this strand pretty much completely worked. There's a little bit left over, which I'm just going to put around it like to make it look like grass. And it came out really good, but like I say, you have to have a lot of time and patience to do something like this. It took me about an hour and a half to do all together, with wire tying it and zip tying it and bending the lights. And I would recommend having it lit up as you're putting it on, in case while you're bending the rope lights, like a small section goes out. I would highly recommend having it lit up as you're putting it on, if possible. Sometimes for something like this, it makes it awkward to work with, but it's worth all the time in the end. And then I have a second one, it's not lit up, and this is the big one from last year. I just had to put new lights on it. Then the small one is still working, it's just not lit up, and those are the normal, like, Irish green mini lights. They were both next to each other in front of the garage last year. This year, I think they're going to be apart just because of the difference in lights, and because of my expansion on where I do my lights, I can spread stuff out a little more, which I definitely think I'm going to do for this display too. It won't be probably as much as Christmas, but it's going to look fairly similar, like where the light strands go on the trees. A lot of that's going to be similar, probably. Anyway, so these are just two or three things that I could recommend you do. Like I said, this takes longer than the eggs. Well, it depends. It depends what you're good at, what your personal skills are with, like, tools and that. Like, it all depends. Tracing a shamrock and cutting it, that probably takes longer than doing the lights, because that's, like, the first step. And if you mess that up, you can't just put lights on it. It's not done yet. You have to restart something like that. And this is similar to what I did at Halloween with my moon. If you recall, I did do a video with the moon with the owl, but I should have done like a demonstration one like this where you could see it in the daytime. And next year, I don't want to give anything away for Halloween, but that moon is pretty much wrecked. From the wind, that moon is pretty much done. I figured it would be like a 1-year use item, if anything. And I don't want to give anything away, but next year I'm probably going to be making a moon, but it's going to be similar to this, and it's probably going to be made of rope lights. Like, I'm going to get like yellow or clear rope lights to put around the shape of the moon. That's kind of what I'm thinking of doing for next year. I'd like to do it with purple lights and then do like a yellow star to go with it, but that'll be work for this summer. Like, I'm not even near ready for that. I might not even do it. I'm not sure yet. Doesn't matter. Focusing on spring right now. So yeah, this is different. Like, I've never seen anyone do it, so I think it adds a good look. Anyway, and then of course, the Christmas peppermints, which I don't even use at Christmas anymore. And if you want to know why, it's because I really don't feel candy fits the whole Christmas display. Even the spiral trees, I didn't use these spiral trees or the reindeer in my Christmas display this year. The reindeer are a part of Halloween. The spiral trees I use in almost every other display, and they don't work anymore. In fact, they're right there. I have to fix all of them for different displays. And the candy I'd rather use at Easter or Halloween than Christmas. So anyway, this is actually became a long video. I apologize for that. I have to work on some of those blow molds. So these are just some ideas for your Easter display or spring display. And then here are these other candy swirls, which now these I have seen people do with the light reels. This isn't totally my original idea, but I mean, mine look different from what you usually see. I'd actually probably recommend these more at Halloween, especially because they glow, so it looks better at Halloween than Easter. That's just my recommendation. And of course, a lot of these melted plastic decorations. And that's pretty much it. I don't really think there's anything else homemade that I have to make this year unless I do a couple more of the candy swirls, which the peppermints, the candy swirls that glow, gonna let you know now, yes, they will be in the display for spring again. Not sure where yet. Anyway, so just thought I'd make an updated video. Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good day.